me not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family, we chose this one. This is episode 21, Tune-Up Lap 2. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe 2, and this episode is brought to you by Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. We also believe that life is better together, and we know that everyone is happiest when they're with family, whether that's family by relation or by choice. Traditional, blended, or extended. Neighbors, coworkers, or teams, friends, or groups, or just the gang. We love everyone like family. Olive Garden.
You know, I want to give a shout out to one of our family members, Walt Hickey. In his newsletter recently, he had a thing about Olive Garden. Apparently, Olive Garden is like way down. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Way down on
Millennials are killing
promotions. No, like they have not, like normally they had so many promotions that they ran that like brought people into their store and everything like that.
So they're doing like less promotions than normal.
Numlock News. So if you want to go to numlock.news, you can subscribe to his daily newsletter for free or pay $5 a month to get his really in-depth Sunday interviews and also kick Walt a couple bucks. He was on our Fast 5 episode. Olive Garden is becoming a veritable economic indicator, just like how Waffle House closures helped the National Hurricane Center figure out the impact of major storms. Did you hear about that? Did you know about that? Did we talk about that?
No.
So Waffle House in places like Florida apparently never close. Like no matter what happens, they are always open. So like when the National Weather Service or the National Hurricane Center finds that a Waffle House is closing, they're like, okay, so the locals think this is serious. Like they obviously have their all, you know, their machines, their biometrics, all that sort of stuff, right? And they all know. But they've used, and it's pretty accurate, when a Waffle House closes, that town is in serious trouble. So the National Hurricane Center uses Waffle House closures to gauge where to send disaster relief, essentially. So that's
interesting. Last time there was a hurricane, I remember them mentioning like this Waffle House was closed, but I didn't know the correlation.
Yep.
When we were in Japan, we would always like look outside to see if the Japanese women were hanging their clothes. Like they don't really have clothes dryers. But, like, we would look outside because we would be like, oh, we would check the weather. And we're like, nobody's hanging clothes out today. But, like, it doesn't say it's going to rain. And then we put our clothes out and it would just, like, pour.
Yep.
Usually the general people from that area kind of have a good gauge of what's going on.
Exactly. Walt says foot traffic was down 0.8% at the Olive Garden, the direct result of the company rolling back its myriad price promotions. This quarter, the chain ran only 2 promotions, a buy one, get one free deal, and a pasta pass, which is like Movie Pass, but instead of seeing crappy films they otherwise wouldn't see, the 1,000 pass holders instead got to eat butter, salt, and carbs they otherwise would be spared. In the absence of promotions, despite the dip in foot traffic, sales were up 3.5%. So basically, Olive Garden, instead of doing like unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks, or whatever their promotion is, they're just doing this pasta pass, and that's what they're getting.
Did you know about this? This
boots on the ground.
Cool too.
I did not know about that, no.
They, like, sell, like, 100 for $100, and then, like, 1,000 for $200, and you get, like, a spaghetti dinner, like, every single day, or, like, once a week for the whole year.
God, that's so much pasta. I mean, like, it's, Olive Garden is fine. We both live in an area where there's, like, incredible Italian food.
Rachel.
Like, I can go...
I have a Rachel.
3 minutes, well, that's true. I can go 3 minutes in literally any direction and hit a pizza place. You know what I mean? Like, and they're all good. So Olive Garden has its merits, just maybe not in the
breadsticks
American
are fire,
Northeast. Dude. They are. So we're here on the Relap recap, the tune-up lap 2. We finished our building a family, assembling the crew lap. 10 episodes this lap, Joe. We had 8 movies and 2 bonus episodes.
I didn't know we had 2 bonus episodes. That's crazy.
We had the I Am Paul Walker episode between the first and second one. We had the mailbag number 1
that makes sense.
7 and 8.
Okay. Yeah, so like 1.5, kind of.
1.5.
Yeah.
We had, just as a refresher for you. So actually, if you did not hear our first tune-up, maybe you've joined the podcast late, haven't caught up, welcome in that case.
Yeah, welcome.
These are just a little bit of we're changing gears, we're shifting gears a little bit in between laps, reflecting back on what we just finished, looking ahead to the next lap, kind of ranking the movies in a different way. Just, checking in. There's a lot. We're doing all the intro stuff. We're going to check the mailbag, going to do all the sorts of different stuff on the streets, all that kind of fun stuff. But
just take a
not
breather.
Talking about a movie today. We are just taking a quick breather.
Pump
this is
brakes,
also January 1st, so Happy New Year to you.
Oh, yeah, Happy New Year.
In 2 weeks, on January 15th, we'll be back with resident historian Mike Manzi, a.k.a. Mikestir, to join us for the entirety of Lap 3. Although there will be at least one, I think maybe just one, but at least one special guest on Lap 3, so
yes,
stay tuned for that.
Guest.
But just to reflect back, Joe, on this episode, on this lap, Fast and Furious number 1, we had Tobin Island on from the Contenders podcast on the first episode. Then we did I Am Paul Walker, just you and me, solo bolo style. Too Fast, Too Furious. We had Brian Rodriguez of the High School Slumber Party podcast. Oh shit, it's Brian.
Shit, it's Brian. Yeah. I forgot.
We had on the Tokyo Drift episode, Chris podcast from the Now and Again show. We were going to have Nico on. Nico has since gone on to create 2 new podcasts since we did that. X is for Podcast about the X-Men comics. And now HTML Husband's talking more or less about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we'll have Nico on a future episode. That was just Chris podcast on that one.
Yeah.
Number 4, this feels like forever ago. I mean, I know that we went from monthly to every 2 weeks, but Liam and Ellie of the Nerd on Nerd podcast are going to talk about Fast and Furious. Does that feel like we did that forever ago?
It kind of does, yeah.
Like, for some reason, talking to Chris feels more recent than that. I don't know.
Well, we just saw him a couple days ago.
That's true. Next up, we had Fast 5 with the aforementioned Walt Hickey of Numlock News, formerly of 538. Then we had Fast and Furious 6 with Jordan Pullman Clark of the Wistful Thinking podcast doing that circus on the world's longest runway.
We did a lot of circus, yeah.
Furious 7, Austin Wolf Southern of the Cinema Stories show on YouTube. He actually just had his 100th video review on Instagram, so he was celebrating that with his cats, so that's cool. Then you and I did the Mailbag number 1 episode. We closed out Lap 2 with The Fate of the Furious with Kim Basine of Bloomberg and the Stats of the Furious, which was a very cool, fun thing to do.
Yeah.
So that was a look back. So now, Joe, before we get into the meat, the bones of this episode, because you know what we also have to do today?
Yeah.
You and I have to answer our either-ors.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Are we gonna do an on the streets?
We are. Do you want to do the rankings first? Or you do on the streets? That's what we're trying to figure out. Like, you want to kick things off with rankings, then do the rest of it on our own?
I would say let's do like updates and then do rankings and then do like mailbag and normal stuff down the line.
Okay, so the first up is extracurricular activities. This is what we've been up to since last time we recorded. Since we last recorded, I had my birthday. You and Rachel made the longest commute down to Top Golf down here in New Jersey. And
wasn't that bad.
Golfed and drank, and Chris Podcast, the aforementioned Chris Podcast, bought me a bucket of Coronas to celebrate family, so shout out him.
Yeah.
But it was great. I had a whole, compared to last year, where you went 3 miles in 45 minutes and turned around because that's fucked. I had a lot of people show up. My heart was warmed by the love that I saw. We had a great turnout, a lot of fun. Golfed for about 2.5 hours. A lot of fun. Thank you to everybody who was there, including a handful of people who were on this show or will be on the show again, including Chris Podcast, Brian Rodriguez.
There's a lot of them, yeah.
Much love.
It was fun. I agree. I don't know what I've been up to. Not much. But, like, as an update, because I didn't tell you about what happened today. You know, we did Christmas stuff. Christmas just happened. I had 2 friends come over yesterday for Christmas dinner, so they were just like hanging out. We were drinking beers all day, whatever. But I realized yesterday that I had like a physical therapy appointment for my foot at 8:30 this morning, and I was like, that was probably a stupid idea to like schedule that, but like, okay, whatever. So like, we wake up this morning, I go there, and it was canceled. So like, I like woke up early to go there and then cancel it, and then I just went to go deal with nailing a tire on one of the cars that we have, and that was a pain in the ass, and then put the tire back on. But we got it plugged, so that was good.
Considering I work from home and don't commute and don't drive a ton, like drive, I guess, sort of an average amount otherwise, I get so many nails in my goddamn tires, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know why, it's bad luck, I think. Like, I'm not driving in, like, high-risk nail areas.
Yeah, you're not like a construction worker or something, you know?
What I've learned by now is that if you think something's wrong, something's probably wrong. Go get it checked out sooner rather than later before the tire like really deteriorates and gets funky.
Well, the thing was we got the flat tire on like Saturday, and then it was like Christmas weekend, so like nothing was open until today, which is like Wednesday. So it really sucked. It was just like, you know, like nobody's open on Sunday, and then like Monday was New Year's or Christmas Eve, and Tuesday was Christmas, and it's just like fucked told.
But now everything's good. All good on the tire front.
All good on the tire front.
And that's car related. That's appropriate for this podcast.
It is, yeah. That's what
you do anything else of note since the last time we recorded?
Oh, I bought flights to Italy for March.
Do you want to let the people know how much the flights were supposed to cost and what you actually paid for them?
I like to game airline miles, so I got 2 flights that cost, if you would pay for them, was like $18,000.
Which I can't imagine anybody would actually pay, but...
like
people
business
do.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
like business people. You deal
I
with
mean,
this
my
pretty
boss,
closely.
my boss would, but he doesn't pay for it. He gets it.
Exactly.
He
Like
gets it
some
paid for, but
business
yes.
pays for it. That's why it's business class. And then but I paid like $192 and a bunch of miles for them, so I'm really
ridiculous.
excited. Yeah, so I'll get some lie flat seats, get to go eat some pasta, do some family type stuff.
We had a holiday party. Kyle Reinfried of the Foodie Films podcast. He's not been on here yet. I don't know if he likes these movies or not, but he was there. Brian Rodriguez, we mentioned before, was there. A bunch of people, a lot of delicious foods. Like, this is the place, this was a party where I was just like, I'm going to eat a little bit before. So here was my plan. I was going to have a salad before I went, because I'm like, there's probably going to be a bunch of food. The lettuce that I had bought went bad because I just didn't eat it quickly enough. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to make pasta. And then, like, the pasta filled me up so much that by the time I got there, I was like, fuck, like, I shouldn't have eaten anything, because there's, like, so much, like cheeses and meats and just, like, all, like, delicious. Like, it was all, not, like,
that's awesome.
meal stuff, but all sort of, like, the most delicious, like, crudité and, like, appetizer stuff and everything.
Yeah.
And I was just like, God, like I screwed it up, but it was still delicious. That's where I told you that the people showed up. He had friends show up from Vermont for like, they were there for maybe 45 minutes. I think they were in New Jersey for another reason, but they were there for like a minute, and they brought freshly canned Sip of Sunshine, which is
Lawson's
a delicious
finest.
beer.
Lawson's finest. I'm a big fan. I've actually met Sean Lawson before.
Very cool. Did I ever tell you about the time? I might have, but we're down in Austin, and actually, Wes might know. Wes probably knows about this, not the story, but the company. But there is in Austin, I think I've probably told you about this. I don't think on air. There's Amy's Ice Cream, and Amy's Ice Cream
yes,
is
you told me about
delicious.
her.
And Amy's Ice Cream is popular enough, and Amy has enough money that, from what I've heard, when a new strip mall goes up, Amy will basically buy the strip mall and then rent out stores at like a increased rate, because Amy's itself, the store, is such a draw that people know that their store just being near Amy's will get increased foot traffic.
Like somebody has an ice cream shop, so you're like, oh, all these people are gonna come to the ice cream shop, so you're like, oh, just put like a Hallmark next to it or something.
Exactly. I don't know if Amy is married to Phil, but there's a lot of Amy's connected to Phil's, and Phil's is this Phil's Ice House, which has delicious burgers. It has one of the best, if not the best, chicken sandwich I've ever had.
Oh, okay.
Really, really good. Great sweet potato fries, great regular fries. I was at the Moon Tower Comedy Festival in Austin a couple years back when I was living down there. They had like, you could get like a festival badge, which was like $300, which you could see like, I want to say like 2 or 3 of like the 6 headliners for like the stretch of the stretch of like 4 nights.
Yeah.
Or if you spent like $500, you could see every headliner. You had also got to sit in the front, like first like 10 or 15 rows of every show. So I was like, for $200, that's fine. It also gave you like 8 drink tickets, like exclusive access
Definitely
to the VIP lounge.
Yeah. Makes so much sense.
Comedians hung out. It was well worth it.
I'm getting old enough to where like these things like. Yeah. The value, it's like I would rather spend money to have a really good experience at one thing than to go to 4 different things and have like a general admission experience.
Exactly. The opening night, we were seeing Ron White, who I'm not super crazy about, but he was sort of like hosting, I guess, the event for the, like, I don't know, he was like the first headliner or whatever. You know Ron White? Yeah, tater salad. I turned to my left, and there was a woman sitting there, because I was there alone, and I made a couple friends there, and I sort of spent the rest of the festival with them. They were both cool. They both flown in for this, and that was awesome. But before I met them, I was just there by myself, and I looked to my left, and there was this woman who was there with her husband or boyfriend or whoever, and he had just gone to get drinks. I just saw on her name badge, it said Amy something of Amy's Ice Cream. I was like, excuse me, like, are you Amy? And she's like, yeah. I was like, I'm like, sure you get this all the time, but like, your ice cream is incredible. And she's like, oh, thank you so much. Like, we chatted a little bit, and I don't think he was Phil, but he was with her, and he was whatever. But like, I met the titular Amy of Amy's Ice Cream, and I was like starstruck by the celebrity stature of this woman. But she was super nice. Her ice cream was incredible. This is the only place I really do this, but when I go there, I just tell them, because it's kind of Cold Stony, where like they have like the frozen table, and they mix stuff in. I'm just like, just make me something, because like they have so many weird flavors, because it's Austin, and keep things weird. I feel like if I ordered myself, I would just go with like what I like.
I can't do it. I freeze. Like, pun intended.
Yeah.
No, I freeze. Like, when I see like a menu that's too deep, I just like, I have to consume the whole menu, so it takes me like 15 minutes.
Yep.
And then I have to like pick out what I want, and then I have to pick out what Rachel wants. Like, I mean, like, not pick out what she wants, but like let her decide what she wants. And then I'm like, oh, well, that affects what I want, because like we're both not gonna get like chocolate peanut butter or whatever, right? Because like they always have like 2 that are like relatable, and you're like, well, if you want that one, then I'm gonna get something completely different. So we get like 2 different. Yeah, I understand your pain.
When I worked at an ice cream store, I actually sort of expanded my ice cream palette. Like, I found like raspberry was delicious, butter pecan was delicious, like the coffee ice creams are delicious. So, like, I like most ice creams, but when I go there, it's still like, because they have like all these like infused flavors and everything, I'm just like, I'm gonna let
pick
you
something.
make me whatever you think I would like. And they're like, do you have any dietary restrictions? I'm like, nope, just go for it. And I tip them very well, and it's always delicious.
Yep.
But that's the only place I really do it because Amy's like, I don't even know what's on their menu. I just walk in there and I'm just like, it's too much. Like I would be happy with just about anything, but I just want them to like do it. But I also have felt bad. But they never respond this way. But I feel like, oh, now I'm putting the pressure on them. You know what I mean? Like,
The thing is as long as you're not an asshole that says like I don't like this when you get it,
yeah,
they don't care.
right. That's
Always,
what I thought.
and I always phrase it as like, what would you eat right now if you were making something for yourself? Not give me anything. When I go to like a bar, I'm like, what would you want to drink right now on this menu? And the guy's like, oh, well, this is what I would definitely drink, and I'm like, cool. So like it's a little bit of relief of pressure,
Yeah,
Like,
because I thought back to like when I was an ice cream person, nobody ever asked me to do that, like but I guess I would probably
It's not that
pick some of
bad,
my
as long as
favorites and
you're
mix
not-
them together or whatever. But it's also like it feels like you might again, to use your phrase, freeze up on them, because it's just like, oh, I don't. But like they just mix things together and just go with what's popular, and always a delight. So go check out Amy's or Phil's in Austin because they are both great. Shout out Wes, considering that Wes' wife is in the dessert business. I'm sure they have scouted the competition, and Amy's is like a powerhouse, but Amy's is great. So no real secret if you're in Austin, but that was that. Any other extracurricular activities that we, in the last couple of weeks since we recorded on December 13th, I think, with Kim?
No, not too much.
Yeah.
That's about it. I'll have some New Year's ones after New Year's.
Sure. Absolutely. All right, so the next up, we have the Patreon and the mailbag. So we have a Patreon page, patreon.com/toofast2forever. If you go there, you can get some sweet merch. You can kick us a couple bucks. Vote on, what's coming next. All sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Shout out again to Cassie Wilson, our patron over there, holding down the fort. Shout out, Cassie. Thank you for your support of Too Fast, Too Forever. We do have a mailbag. Email address here on the show, family@cageclub.me. We've got 2 emails today, Joe.
Okay.
First, she just wished us the Merry Christmas on Facebook yesterday. Jenny McMullen.
Oh, thank you,
chiming
Jenny.
in Too Fast, Too Forever for the first time in a little bit. She says, no knees, subject line.
Okay.
Hi, guys. Haven't finished listening to the episode with only 49 minutes to go. Got to this part. And this is, I feel like of all of our absolute lack of a guess between you, me, and Austin, what it could mean, I think this is probably, honestly, the best solution.
Oh, she's a guest? Okay, cool.
She does.
I want to hear it.
I'm thinking maybe she's called that because she won't get on her knees and won't do that, making her less desirable than a girl who would later, Jenny.
Like a prudy Denise.
Right, like yes. And so it's worthy, I guess, of shit talk that like
Tyrese couldn't get
yes.
a promiscuous girl to go. He had to go with like a prudy girl. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah.
That's actually, yeah, it makes more sense the reverse way than it did the way that we were thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
The best guess before that was your like, yeah, she just like doesn't lock her knees when she goes. That's just, okay, sure, maybe. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Like everybody else was girls are going down on them in high school, but no knees Denise would not do that or whatever. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
Maybe.
Thank you, Jenny. Good point. I like it.
Shout out Jenny. I think Jenny also wrote into at least one of the other 2 shows. Oh, that's also if you listen to Magic Mike's or Boyfriend Material, our Channing Tatum and Ryan Gosling podcasts. This month, January, we're going to have new episodes of both. Although we are going to mix it up a bit. The previously scheduled episodes are getting bumped to April because we are covering Smallfoot for Channing and First Man for Gosling. So both of those we will be covering in the next 3 weeks on January 11th and January 21st. Channing Tatum, Magic Mike's, and Ryan Gosling, Boyfriend Material. Jenny wrote into at least one, if not both of those shows, so we will be hearing from Jenny again before too long. So cool.
Hopefully.
Thank you. Shout out Jenny. Okay. Second and final email today from Wes. Congrats on a successful lap 2. What up, fam? Hi, Wes. Thank you for writing in.
I'm glad you're part of the fam.
I'm hoping to get this in before you record your recap, but with the holidays, who knows? Well, Wes, you did it plenty of time. This was sent a couple days ago, so we are all good. It was so awesome having a guest host who worked on the Stats of the Furious. Shout out Kim again from
I think so, too,
Bloomberg.
dude. I was really amped about it. I was trying not to fangirl too hard, but I was like really excited to talk to him.
I'm a fan of dumb stats like this, so when the article came out, I really loved going through all of it. I can't imagine getting paid to watch these movies and track all that stuff, which is basically what we were saying the entire time, just like, you got paid to do what we would do for free, so.
Can I take a little side note, by the way? I just remembered it, and I want to say it. I'm not a big Instagram user. It's just, like, not a social media that, like, I spend a lot of time on. I'll check it every once in a while. But Rachel the other day. She loves Instagram, and the other day she showed me what Wes had just made. Did you see what he made?
Oh yes, I did, and I commented on it too. I forgot that I did. Yes.
Maybe she saw it from you then, but like I'm usually not on Instagram that much, but she showed me it, and top tier, Wes. I'm very, very proud of this. What did we call it? Cross hatching?
Cross stitch. The Home Sweet Home pattern is a classic cross stitch staple, and somehow I haven't done one yet, so I decided to change that. I've been trying to come up with a good Fast and Furious pattern to make for a while, and this one just sort of hit me. I designed
awesome.
all of it except for the pattern Home Sweet Home text, which I took from an online pattern.
It's
and
really,
in case
really
you're
cool.
not intimately familiar with the Fast and Furious movies like I am, which, we are, but we're not the masses who are reading this, the house is Dom's LA home, complete with his 1970 Charger in the driveway and Brian's 1994 Supra from the first movie parked out front. The cross at the bottom is Dom's cross pendant.
I know, he had the sisterhood of the traveling necklace too. I was
It's
really
wonderful.
happy.
And chain that has been a staple in almost all of the movies. It's a 5x7 pattern on 14 count fabric, 18 colors, including 3 metallic threads, about 19 and a half hours, not including pattern design time. Now, I don't know.
Long or a short time. Is that what you were going to say too?
No, I was going to say, I don't know if you can listen to things while you do that. That's basically one lap's worth of podcasts.
Damn. Yeah, that's a lot.
Right?
I'm sure that you can. I think that you could definitely listen and do it. I'm sure that you could watch TV and do it too.
Because it's something that you have to focus on, but as long as you're not trying to I don't think I could focus on something that I want to listen to or want to watch, but if it's something that I was already seen before, or music or whatever, I could definitely do that.
Yeah.
So last time I emailed, I mentioned I'd rewatched Fate of the Furious. This is only partly true. I watched most of it, but had to stop and knew I wouldn't have time to finish it before sending in my email. Last week I did sit down and finish watching it, and I still think it has its moments. I did feel the hashtag Justice for Han thing a little bit more, because for some reason I didn't remember Shaw hanging out at the barbecue at the end, which, yeah,
Yes.
things are a little bit cozy. But I mean, he saved
He
the baby,
delivers
but also,
the baby. Yeah.
They could have had a contentious relationship built out of necessity, and Shaw could have at least apologized for the misunderstanding that led to Han's death, but they just kind of sweep it under the rug, which is not cool. But there were a few moments that tugged on his heartstrings, like when everyone surrounds Dom and saves him from the explosion, which led to our latest and final. I think now that we've finished this second lap, I don't think we should add any more questions. We already have so many questions.
Okay.
Unless one really strikes us. But I feel like the last question that we added, would you rather be saved by, from freezing water or a fiery explosion, commemorates this, very special family moment here in Fate
Yeah,
of
I think
Furious.
so too. I'm glad you like that question. I at least come up with them sometimes, like it just has to happen organically. I can't plot them, but yeah.
Oh, no, that was mine. Yours was about the distraction song.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, sorry. Then sorry I took credit for yours too, but sure.
Oh, also, by the way, this maybe should have gone in extracurricular activities, but you pointed out, you put on our Facebook page, I think I put it on Twitter too, at Cage Club Pod. Yesterday on Christmas, USA
my
Network
God.
showed 1 through 5, the Fast Five-a-thon. First 5
They should have
movies.
gone all in. I don't know why they stopped, but that's an awesome Christmas morning thing to do.
I just wonder, they must not have. I bet they have rights to 6. If they didn't have rights to 7 yet, 7 might be close. I don't know.
I have no idea either. But anyways, you could have watched all of them if you're following us on Facebook, facebook.com/Too Fast Too Forever.
What time do they start? 8 a.m.?
Yeah, they must have started because 2 was on at 10. I woke up late.
By the time I did everything here and got to my parents' house, I put it on after we had breakfast over there, and Tokyo Drift was just starting. But we watched on mute while listening to Christmas music and while unwrapping presents and stuff like that. We watched Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, and Fast 5. So
That's awesome.
my mom, I don't think has ever seen a minute of those until just this, but I was like, hey, look, do you know who that is? And she was like, oh, it's Wonder Woman. So pointing out Gal
Yeah.
Gadot in these movies, and my dad, I think, had seen all of them once or twice maybe, and so he kind of knew roughly when things happened, so he was asking me questions about it, but happy to share the family moment with the family. Okay. Watching it while doing something else is probably the way to go. Let's talk about Fate of the Furious again. Watching it while doing something else is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
That way you get the good moments without investing too much in the story. To that point, now that they've started the Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw spin-off series, I think it might be to their benefit to keep Shaw out of future installments, which I want more movies with Jason Statham, but I can also kind of see where Wes is coming from here.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, it could stop the contention of them having to compete for screen time, even just from that perspective. Because we were talking about this, we added too many people at this. We're adding too many people. We need to take some people away at this point.
So speaking of contention on screen, this is a hot take here. I want to hear what you think about this.
Okay.
Actually, I was even thinking it might be good to keep Hobbs' involvement pretty limited too. I know he's a huge box office draw, but splitting the lead between him and Dom and Fate didn't do them any favors. It might be nice to get back to some of the basics of the family in the next ones. I just feel Wes's point is right in that he's too much of a box office draw that they're not going to have him not in the movie, I think.
Yes.
I also, again, just like Jason Statham, want to have as many of him in there as possible. I think that we're close enough that if they do end at 10, and then, spin it off to, origin stories or side stories, or like we heard about read about in that one tweet, like that, please give us like a trilogy for Han and Giselle between, 5 and 6 or 4 and 6 or whatever. I think that we're too close to the end to remove Hobbs. Like, I think if we keep getting bigger...
I think he's too essential. I agree with you. I think it'd be very difficult to, cut him out, because they can't, write him out like they did Mia in this one. And in 8, sorry.
Right.
You know what I mean? They can't just be like, call Hobbs, and then be like, oh, he said hi, and then just, stop.
Yeah.
He's too essential to the story, so... I really do like Wes's idea, though, because I do feel like... I've been saying it, I think we need to kill off some people. So,
well, that's the thing.
Trim the fat.
Compare this to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Where, did you see Infinity War yet or no?
Yes, I did. I'm all caught up. I finally, watched them all.
Spoilers for Infinity War, but, at the end of Infinity War, basically everyone but the main Avengers, quote-unquote, die, right? And so the next one is going to be where they have to go bring everybody back and kill Thanos and all that sort of stuff, and that's going to be that. But for years now, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think this is also something that I've talked about on this podcast, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just like this franchise, has gotten so big that I feel like the actors all have clauses in their contracts like, you can't kill me.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
I want to say in Civil War, maybe? The Don Cheadle character, Rhodey, Iron Man's best friend.
Yeah.
War Machine, where he gets, rocketed out of the sky and, falls and, gets paralyzed or almost paralyzed or whatever. He should have died. There needs to be more stakes, because, the movies have become so big that, characters are not going to die. I feel like, just like people are assuming in Avengers 4 Endgame, I think they're calling it, right? The one that comes out in April. Yeah. Just like maybe if Fast 10, Your Seatbelts, is the final one in the main franchise, I can see them being okay, we're going to have actual characters die, because, this is the end, this is where the stakes matter, deaths can mean something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there should be a death within, the first 10 minutes, somebody big, too.
Well, just how Loki died, Loki is dead in Avengers, so I would love to see these characters stick around, but I also feel like we've invested so much time into them that if one were to die, it would have real significance to the story.
But unlike the Marvel thing that you're saying, though, is that we're just starting the spin-offs thing, where in Marvel, although all the characters were kind of alive, they weren't all together in most of the movies. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So now that we are starting to have spin-offs, I don't think that we'll mind as much that Hobbs is with Dom, with this being the last installment, because in the Hobbs and Shaw movie, you're not going to have Dom in the family, so when they bring the family back, you're going to be like, oh cool, everybody's back again, kind of like they do with Avengers, right? They set you up with one of movie of each, maybe another character's in there for a minute or two, it doesn't really matter, but then you're like, oh cool, this is the main event,
Right, that would be cool. I think it was built in a different way, but I would have loved to see every 4 or 5 or 6 years have a main Fast and Furious, but in between there's origin stories and spin-offs, and we have the Han and Giselle stuff and whatever. But who knows what the future will hold.
We don't write these movies.
Just keep watching and wait and see.
We'll just keep watching and talking about them.
Wes goes on, speaking of family, my wife's family is visiting for Christmas and she wants to do a family movie night. Make them all watch a Fast and Furious movie with us. We showed her sister most of them a few years ago, and she loved them, but it might be a harder sell with the rest of her family. We've been debating which one to watch. She wants to do Furious 7, but I think Fast 5 is a better standalone movie for people who aren't interested in the rest of the films. I'm pretty sure she just wants to do Furious 7 because she wants to make me cry in front of her parents, which is super funny and a little bit mean. I think it's interesting that, Wes, I think was it last episode or 2 episodes ago, had us do our trilogy. Remember, see, how would you do 3?
What 3-peat you would do. Yeah.
I think you have to go 5. I think if you're showing to a wide audience, that's where I came in, that's where Jordan came in. I think it's just, it's enough of a continuation, but also kind of a reboot, and it's also just the first, truly,
it stands on its own
great action movie. Yeah.
And if anybody had seen some of the other ones, you'd be like, oh, cool. And if anybody hasn't seen any of them, you're just like, oh, it's the guy from the third one, so whatever.
Yep.
You don't need it to know any of this stuff, but yeah.
And I think it's the first one's also a good place to start, but also the first one didn't age well. I think it's also the most niche for especially for a widespread demographic. I don't think it's going to work well. I think Furious 7 is pretty good, but I feel the end won't hit people as much. Like I feel like 7 I think works within the scope of the series better than it does as a standalone movie. 5 I think works maybe almost better as a standalone movie than it does within the series, but still, bottom line, there's no wrong choices. But I would agree with
This is
Wes,
really funny you said this
5.
because yesterday we watched Fast and Furious on USA, right?
Yep.
And my buddy was like, I stopped after 4. And we were like, well, I was like, 5, headcanon is essentially Italian Job 2.
Yep.
And he's like, really? And I'm like, that's what we think. We don't know the truth, but that's what we think.
Yeah.
And he's watching it, and he gets to the point where it's like, what does he say? Like, they were doing something, and he's like, this is fucking Italian Job 2. And I was like, I know. It's exactly like it. And then Zach said he thought it was like Ocean's 11. And I'm like, kind of the same thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah, very similar. You mentioned something in the last episode about possibly doing a Fast and Furious minute-by-minute podcast if you get bored of watching them in a normal way. Funny enough, a few years ago, I thought about how fun it would be to start a podcast with exactly that premise.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah,
well, we didn't know.
That's kind of what got me searching for other Fast and Furious podcasts in the first place. Right now, don't have the time to do it, but I think it would be an interesting podcast, which I think we've talked about. I'm going to say after lap 5, after we do the ride-along with Mike, 4, which is still TBD, which is just probably going to be, again, building the family again more, and then 5 is going to be driving school, or driving lessons with Kara the whole time, because she's never seen any of them. I think instead of 6, or maybe we could call it lap 6 or whatever, we do at least the first movie, and just do, like, it would be like 100 episodes that would be like about 15 minutes each. We have to figure out the release structure, but I think that would be a good time. So that's also coincides time-wise with basically
so instead of doing, you're saying instead of doing a whole lap, in quotation marks, we do that.
Because if we did all 8 or 9 or however many movies are out by that point, minute by minute, like that would be thousands of episodes.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. So like we just do like first movie minute by minute as a lap.
Yes.
A loose lap in quotation marks, right?
What I've not listened to yet, and I will by the time we do this, is like I've not listened to the Star Wars Minute. There's also a Clueless Minute, because when we did Clueless for Cinemakers, we were just Googling or searching around on iTunes, and somebody did a Clueless Minute by Minute. And I think the way they do it generally is they'll spend about 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, whatever it is, talking about the first minute, the second minute, the third minute, or whatever, and they release them every weekday. One a week isn't satisfying, or one every 2 weeks isn't satisfying. So it's still roughly, in terms of what we record, maybe a little bit more to do 10 episodes, but we'll figure it out. But I think I want to sort of figure out how they do it, how they also introduce other stuff, like if they're asking people or whatever, so I want to figure that out. But I'm thinking after lap 5, which will also coincide with roughly New Year's next year, heading into 2020.
Oh, cool.
That we could do the first one, see how it goes. Plus, as I said to you offline, I think it's going to be great for me to write down, like have like a transcript of every movie, so we can just like Control F and just find like quotes or find actions or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we already know more about these than most people, but I also know that there's still a lot of people out there who know more than I do and more than you do or whatever.
And if we break it down minute by minute, we're going to get to the point where we're like, we know exactly what happens at every time and every one.
Yeah. I think so. Wes, hang tight. Wes, we can also, this is also the kind of thing where, like, if we have 100 episodes, I think generally what they do is they'll record, like, 5 with a guest. So they'll be like, here's the 5 one-minute clips, here, watch these or whatever, and I could figure out how way to rip it and, like, split them up or whatever. We could do, like, 5 with a guest, and if we have basically 20 guests, that's a good time to also bring in some listeners, bring in Wes, bring in Joe 3, bring in anybody.
Yep.
If whoever wants to do it, we could figure that out as we get there. Bring in Adam Taylor. Bring in Downton Tom wants to come back. If his schoolwork comes up, whatever.
Yeah.
We've got the ability to reach out in all new directions. So I think tentatively, quote unquote, lap 6, minute by minute, the Fast and the Furious 2001.
I'm down. I'm in.
Wes says, lastly, you talked a lot about trying to track Dom's necklace through the films. I sat down and was able to track for the most part. There were a few gaps I couldn't reconcile, so I found an article that gave a breakdown, movie by movie, of where the necklace traveled. Here's the link if you want to read it, but maybe you could just map it yourself during the next lap, question mark. So it's on yahoo.com. I've not clicked on it yet. I'm not going to, because I do want to sort of track it and see if we, like, I think if you and I both track it, we could sort of see, like, compare notes and see if we have it right. You know what I mean? Like, if we both watch it the same way, that'll be definitively...
Yeah, I'm down. That works.
So the other thing, there's 2 other things in the email. I want to get your sense on these. He sends his rankings, which we're going to do here, and he also sends a car picture. So do you want to do either of those now, or save them for later, or what do you want to do?
We'll do his rankings after our rankings.
Okay. Car picture?
Yeah, I'm down to play.
Okay. So he sends 3 pictures. He said this is just one he saw while rewatching So it's in one of the movies, okay? So
Okay.
he saw it in one of the movies, did a little research into it. The first two are a normal model, and the third one is the one that is in these movies, okay?
Okay.
Okay, it's a British car,
Okay.
British model, 1971.
Okay.
Oh, he says British in the email. Thank you, Wes. I didn't read that far down. British. It's in Fast and Furious 6, okay? Originally manufactured as a luxury car, produced from 66 to 76.
I'm gonna guess a Jaguar.
It is not.
It is not a Jaguar.
No.
An MG.
What is that? Is that a company?
Yeah, it's called MG.
No.
An Aston Martin.
No.
A British car that's not an Aston Martin.
So here's a hint. I did not know this company.
You just didn't know it?
I've never heard of it before, and I play enough racing games that I feel like I should have seen it. I probably have seen it. It's not in my brain.
Wow. I don't know. Keep going.
All right, so it is gray. Does that help? Or black?
Yeah, that helps.
Depending on the
Thanks.
picture. It's a two-door car, kind of like a Charger in front. It's kind of like a hatchback Charger in a way, and that might be a terrible description, but I also think it's not a terrible description.
Okay.
2 headlights on both sides in the front. So there's 4 total. It doesn't look like there's any fog lights, at least not visible.
Mini? Is it some kind of Mini?
Mm-mm.
Another British car.
The grill is sort of understated. It's not really crazy. There's sort of like a dual hood scoop. Like there's 2 in this version. There's 2 racing stripes down the middle, and there's a hood scoop on either side of it, sort of like a third of the hood.
Okay.
Let's see here. What else? Dual exhaust on both sides in the back. Dual chrome bumper in the back, going from left to right.
I'm trying to remember from Top Gear, like what other is the company still exist? Do they still make cars?
That's a very good question. Let me see here. No. Okay, hang on. It was a British manufacturer of sports cars and commercial vehicles, founded by brothers.
Okay.
Debuted, I think, in 34, ceased trading in 76. Trading resumed in 98 until it was dissolved in 2011. So it was founded in 1922. I guess it started making cars or started being publicly traded or whatever in 34, went to 76, and came back for about 15 years around the turn of the millennium.
I have no idea.
You want to know the company? I guess I feel like if I tell you the company, you'll be able to guess the car right away. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't
Do you know
think.
Jensen Motors?
No.
It's a Jensen Interceptor.
That's weird.
Let me put these
Jensen
pictures in here.
Interceptor,
It's a car that Letty drives in 6.
Okay.
So here is the front of the car,
That's a tough one, man. Oh yeah, it does look like you're absolutely right.
and there's the back.
Yeah, that was a good description. You're
Well, thank you.
1,000%.
I'm
agree.
learning, and then this is the version that Letty drives.
Yes. Yeah, I guess I always thought it was like some
That does have a
wacky
very
Jag.
British, like the one that she's driving has a very British, like that looks like an Aston Martin kind of, right? Like sort of like
Yeah, like an old Jag, an old Aston Martin.
Yep.
It has like this weird, yeah,
So cool.
interesting. No, very cool. I had to go.
So I never heard of Jensen. I guess I knew you hadn't either.
No, I mean like maybe in passing, but it's not like a car company like I think of. Like I was going through all the English ones and I was like running out of steam. So no, it's a cool car though.
Well, shout out Wes. Thank you for that, Wes. When you write in next time, if you write in next time, but I hope you do, and I think you will. Let us know if you knew Jensen or if you only knew Jensen because of the movie. Like if you're like, oh, what's that car? Looked on the car movie database or whatever. So
Yeah.
cool. So Wes, I'm gonna leave your email open for now. We'll get to your rankings after we do our rankings. Before we get there, though, I think we should do On the Streets, which is news about the Fast and Furious. The big one that happened is they renamed Hobbs and Shaw to Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, which is totally fine. Doesn't matter either one way or the other. And it's just going to get more butts and seats because people, I'm sure, like even when we're talking, right? Like we call him The Rock. Like we don't always call him Hobbs. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
people who have seen all these movies might not know that he's Hobbs, but they know he's The Rock in Fast and Furious, and so if they're like Fast and Furious, like who are these? Oh shit, that's The Rock and Jason Statham. Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna go to that or whatever. So
Exactly. It's just a smart branding move. I
Yep.
like the idea. It's good. I have no complaints
your friend
about
Matt
it.
with the cooler, our friend Matt with the cooler, thought it was kind of dumb. That it was, I can see why he would think it's dumb, but at the same time,
You can just call it Hobbs and Shaw. It's not like we're going to change what we call it.
exactly. And I just think that like it's going to get more people in seats, which means they're going to make more of these movies, and so I'm totally down for.
It's a branding thing that they did in English, but it's for maybe non-English speaking countries. Because like if they called it like Hobbs and Shaw, and then it became like two wacky fast guys, like how they translate some of these movies.
Yep.
If they call it the Fast and Furious Presents, then you have to put that in the beginning, and then it's like, oh, Fast and Furious, like we know what that is.
And I also think it specifically caters to the people who just, I'm sure these people still exist, go to a movie theater on a Friday or Saturday and just like, what's playing, and then they see Fast and Furious Presents and like, oh, that. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
the only other news that I have in terms of this feels like the news every time we do an episode, just checking out The Rock's Instagram. He called himself Dwanta, which is like Dwayne Santa.
Yeah, I like that
is
too.
his workout, which is great. He posted a picture of himself like just flexing from behind. He said 257 pounds, dialed in at 257 pounds. I'm just like, he's next level human. And then he also said, in terms of Hobbs and Shaw, what Idris Elba is doing, he's creating an icon. So I am so excited for that.
It's cool.
We love him. We love The Wire.
I'm a big fan. Yeah.
I can't wait for this. I don't know what else. Like, I haven't really done a lot of research in terms. Like, I used to.
I don't want to.
No, I'm saying bigger than just this movie. Like, I used to put together a list. Like when I do my best movies of the year, best TV shows of the year, or favorites, or whatever.
Yeah.
Which you can go check out if you want to check those out. Go to cavesclub.me. They're up now by January 1st. Or if they're not up now, they'll be up soon. I used to put together like a list of like my 10 most anticipated movies of the year, and I feel like as time has gone on, like things get delayed or whatever, and I just I kind of just like flow with it, and just whatever's coming out, that's
Yeah,
what
because you can't anticipate it because it gets pushed back, and then it was at this movie festival. I understand.
But I don't know. I can't think of another movie that's coming out next year that I'm going to be more excited to see, which I also hope doesn't. I hope I'm not overhyping it. You know what I mean? But
yeah, don't get too excited for it.
Let me just take a real quick look at what's coming out next year that I'm excited for.
All the fucking Marvel ones.
Captain Marvel, really excited for. Avengers, Endgame, Star Wars Episode 9, Toy Story 4, now with Keanu Reeves, and also Key and Peele. Oh, Tarantino's new movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Glass, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. Dark Phoenix, X-Men movie.
I didn't know that Glass was going to be a third part of Unbreakable and Split.
Yep.
I didn't know that it's like a trilogy, like a loose trilogy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I had no idea that that's how it worked. So I need to go rewatch Unbreakable and Split first before that comes out. But I'm excited.
I think it's coming out in January. I think it's very soon.
Yeah, it's very
soon. New Spider-Man movie, New Mutants, X-Men movie, the live-action Lion King, It Chapter 2, John Wick 3 I'm really looking forward to. Shazam looks great, live-action Dumbo, the new Godzilla movie, which I know Resident Story Mike Manzi's super excited for. Lego Movie 2, Joker, like all these are just sequels, but like they're all the sequels to movies that I really like. Oh, Jordan Peele's movie Us.
Oh yeah, I heard this is pretty good. Everybody's
trailer just came out. Yeah. Live action Aladdin, Pokemon Detective Pikachu with Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, which
that looked awesome too. Damn it, yeah.
Frozen 2,
lots of cool
Zombieland
movies.
2. I'm just looking now on Letterboxd, our favorite Letterboxd, where Hobbs and Shaw ranks. I don't even know if people should be looking forward to it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Oh, also Happy Death Day to You, which I don't know if anybody out there likes horror movies, but the first Happy Death Day was rated PG-13, and I was just like, this isn't going to be good. And I saw it in theaters, and I really, 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 really liked it. And then I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times since, and I love that movie. Happy Death Day is just so wonderful. Plus, the star is from La La Land. Very, very tiny role. But
yes.
Any other on-the-streets news that you have in terms of...
No. I think that's pretty much the main one.
Yeah.
We can dive back in when we get Mike for the ride-along.
All right, which will be in 2 weeks for episode 1, lap 3, The Fast and the Furious. Okay, so now we have 2 things left to do, Joe. We have the questions to answer and our re-rankings. What do you want to do first?
Let's do the questions to answer, and we'll finish with the rankings.
Questions to answer. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So these are the questions that we ask all of our guests, but we never really answer them ourselves. So first up here, Joe, are you a Mia or are you a Letty? I wrote down, I think when we did our Tobin and Island, hello, Tobin and Mia. I can't believe that we had Mia on the podcast already. Tobin and Island episode, I wrote down, just like Tobin, I'm a Mia who wants to be a Letty. But Joe, are you a Mia or are you a Letty?
I don't think that I'm genuinely caring enough to be Mia. Yeah. So in that sense, I'm like, I would be a little bit more like loyal and forgetful. And less genuinely caring.
So there's a higher chance that you would have amnesia and forget everybody.
Yeah, and be like totally okay with that until they came to try to find me.
Yeah.
And be like, oh yeah, this is my new life now. That'd be cool.
This is how I live now. Yeah.
This is just how I live. So not in like the toughness way, but in like the core personality.
You're a Letty by default. You are a Letty. That's basically because you're not
I can't
a Mia.
be Mia.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I already know the answer to this. Are you a Roman or are you a Tej?
I'm Roman.
Yeah, of course you are. And I would say that I'm Tej just because I'm not Roman, but...
Because you're not Roman, and you do all the technical shit for everything here. Yeah.
I also don't think that a podcast could really survive with 2 Romans. Maybe you can. I don't know.
And I think 2 Tejes would be real boring. I mean, like, in the philosophical Tej, you know? Like...
Yes. Are you a Deckard or an Owen? Deckard, Jason Statham. Owen, Luke Evans.
I think Deckard because I'm an older sibling, and I kind of have the like, somebody was like, take your little brother with you. I'd be like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I think I probably for that reason too. I would go Deckard. Plus, I just feel like considering how much time we spent with these movies, it's hard to really say because we just don't know Owen as well. Like he's really kind of one dimensional, right? Like I kind of wish that he comes back, especially in Hobbs and Shaw, whatever. But we just know Deckard so much better. And I think he's more of a fully fleshed out character where you can identify yourself more in him, right? So
yeah, exactly.
We both know the answer to this already. American Muscle or Import? I'm an American Muscle. You are Import.
I like imports. Yeah, I do. I mean, not that I don't like American Muscle. I just like think imports are more interesting to me.
Yeah. Not that this is like my dream car, but like if I suddenly was like, oh, I'm gonna go buy like a $75,000 car, like I wouldn't buy like a WRX or whatever. I would go buy like a cool Charger or something like that. So American Muscle for me. Corona or Belgian Ale?
I would honestly have to say like the Belgian ale just because we drink a ton of craft beer.
Yeah.
But I'm not above drink. Like I have a case of Bud Light in my house at all times.
Yeah.
Like there's no beer that's not good enough for me. But usually, like when I go to a bar, I usually go to beer bars and I order wacky beers. That's what I'm saying.
True. And I send you, like, I just sent you a picture of my flight today. I don't know, we talked about the monks and, like, the Belgian ales, or we were talking about that when we talked to Austin, and, like...
Yeah.
I'm sure that I've had Belgian ales, I'm sure that I've liked them, but in terms of this, like, I just gotta go Corona. Like, I don't have a case of Belgian ale in my fridge. Like, I have Corona in my fridge because of this podcast, so...
I was going for the idea of Belgian ale.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep. Are you a racer or are you a designer?
I'm a tinkerer. I'm a researcher. I want to know all the ins and outs of something. I want to play with it. I want to make the best version of whatever I have with every goofy accessory. So I'm a designer.
As much as I would like to be a racer, I just think that I'm better in the making sure things happen smoothly. And so I also would be a designer in that regard.
Yeah, makes sense.
If you won $10 million, would you bet it all on or stole $10 million, would you bet it all on black or red? I think you've actually answered this question before.
I said this, and I'll repeat it.
Oh, yeah, this is the one you alternate, right?
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
We could do this episode, and I could be like, oh, yeah, I would definitely pick red. And then, like, the next day you'd ask me, and I'd be like, black. And you'd be like, you said red yesterday. I'd be like, no, it's just Gemini nature. Like, that's just how my brain works.
So I'm going to put in there just both colors. So because you're the only one with that, but that you are special because you are a co-host. And I'm going to put black just because I always call tails. Tails never fails, and bet it all on black. That's just, it's just like
fair.
It's all up to chance anyway. Just one less thing for me to think about. Sort of in that regard, kind of like Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg. They have the same outfit every day. It's just the jeans and the hoodie or whatever. Just one less thing to think about. Joe, if you were chasing down a plane, would you rather, or if you had to get your car into or out of a plane, would you rather try to drive into it before it takes off, or jump it out of it, or be forced out, depending on your preference, before, trying to, parachute down to a mountain, into or out of a plane?
This is such a hard one because I feel like I can't tell which one's. I would pick the least dangerous one. Okay, that's what I want to do.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like jumping your car into a plane would actually be least dangerous because, like, I'm kind of in control of it, right? It's not like falling out of the plane where, like, I don't know where the fuck the car is going, like, even with GPS or whatever.
Yeah, and, like, I feel like if things are going wrong, you just stop.
That,
you're on the
but
ground.
I also feel like the act of, like, you trying to jump a car onto a plane means that plane is going down. You know what I mean? Like, something is happening. Like, you're not driving a car onto a moving plane because, like, the plane's, like, really cool and you just want to see the inside of it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot you could fuck up with the plane. I would still say into the plane. I would like to be in control enough to drive into the plane. And it's less height. It's less height than falling out of a plane.
If you're driving into a plane, like, something's going on the plane, you're probably going to have to, like, parachute out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're going to hijack the plane.
I'd rather parachute out of the plane than have to drive out of the plane in a car.
So you're saying into a plane. I'm going to say... God, it's tough. I couldn't do either, but I could do either. If the car is fitted with a parachute
that
has GPS tracked, you basically just need to, like, have the courage to get out. Or if you don't, you just get shot out, right? And there's nothing to do in the sky. Yeah. You just, like, deploy the parachute at the right time and everything's good from there. Just in terms of the where these fall in the movies, in terms of 6 and 7, I'm going to say out of a plane.
In movie land, it's safer. In real world, I don't know which one's safer, is what my brain was torn up
I mean, they're both fucking dangerous as hell, but, who knows. Okay. Joe, is oil 1 syllable or 2 syllables?
Oil. 1.
And I got to go 2. Would you rather be saved from a death in a fiery explosion, or from an icy water, just like Roman at the end of 8?
I could deal with the fire. I don't want to be wet and cold.
So
I
you're
could
saying
never.
fire explosion.
No, maybe I'd rather be saved from the water because like I don't ever want to be wet and cold.
Okay.
Like I hate being wet. I hate the rain. I hate snow. I hate cold. Like the fire is like a barbecue. What?
From what I've heard, dying in water, like freezing to death, is actually a very peaceful, tranquil death.
Yeah, it's really
because
quick.
your body just slowly shuts down. Whereas
Yeah.
being burned alive is miserable, from what I've been told.
I wasn't thinking you were gonna die in either, because like in Fast and Furious terms, you're just like getting saved from one. So it's like you either save yourself from one or you don't have to do the other
It's
one.
a difficult question. I just feel like if there's a 99% chance you're being rescued versus the 1% chance that like they can't save you, I want to be saved from the fiery explosion, because I feel like if I have to die in one of these ways, I'd rather die in the icy water. So I'm going to take my chances there. So just save me, like make sure that I'm saved from the fiery explosion.
Yeah, I get it.
Godspeed. Okay.
No, that's fair.
Your question from the last episode: if you had to cause a distraction at an event by singing a karaoke song, what would that song be? Kim, the only one to answer this question so far, said Seal's Kiss from a Rose.
When I thought about it when you had said it earlier, the first song that came into my head was More Than a Woman.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but like that's the song I would sing today.
By the Bee
Again,
Gees.
this is by the Bee Gees. Again, this is something that I don't know. Like this would change every single day. That was the song when you're just like, what song would you sing? I was like, probably More Than a Woman, and I don't know why. I don't have any like reasoning for it, but it was the first song that popped into my head, so I'm just gonna tell you like the honest truth. That's what it was.
I'm trying to think. I think that's a good answer. I'm trying to think if. I guess it's about what kind of distraction you want to cause, because I don't have a great singing voice, but I can sort of like in terms of
me neither.
In terms of like rock band singing, I can sing well in rock band because it's more mathematical. It's about hitting the actual pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't sound good, but I can do well there. I can also sort of fake it like Josh Homme, the lead singer of the Queens of the Stone Age. I can sort of pass as him. Is the question, do I want to just put on such a show that it's so bad that people can't look away?
That's why I think that was part of my decision of More Than a Woman, because it's like it would be like, is he really singing like the beat? You know what I mean? Like it would cause like enough of a distraction.
That's really it's a difficult question. I think that's a good answer, because it has to be a song that enough people know. Like it can't just be like a personal pet song, right? You know what I mean? Like it has to be like a.
You can't pick like your favorite song. Like that's not gonna work. Like you know what I mean? If you have like some like random like alt rock hit that you like, it has to be like a song that everybody knows.
Exactly. I'm going to go with, again, just the same sort of reason. It's the song that I put on at bars via touch tunes when I want to just see a reaction. I'm going to put Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You.
It's an appropriate one, and that's a really good choice.
All I Want for Christmas. So if you're listening to this, and I don't know if I talked about this on the show, but don't play that at Christmas, because people hear enough at Christmas. But I put it on Halloween,
in like July,
on St. Patrick's Day, and people lose their goddamn minds. And 4th of July, too. People aren't ready to hear not only a Christmas song, but like a great Christmas song. And people, there's
so they love it.
There's a wave at the beginning, like people are like, what? Like when the people hear it, and then like when she starts singing, and like because it picks up so quickly that people just get into it.
Have you seen the John Mulaney, the Silver Dollar Diner?
Yes.
God, that makes me so happy.
Which we did that. So this summer before, so my I've talked about on here that my friend got married in Scotland. He had his bachelor party Memorial Day weekend down the Jersey Shore. It was like this whole long affair. I might have even talked about it on here.
I think you did.
On Saturday when we did our bar trek, the biking from bar to bar and drinking at every bar, we played Creedence Clearwater Revival, Fortunate Son at every bar we went to. And at one bar, we put it on 14 times in a row. It's a 2-minute song, so it's not like an overly long song. But we heard rumblings of people being like, why does this keep playing? But it was definitely not inspired by John Mulaney. It was more inspired by our British friend Charlie. We call him British Charlie for obvious reasons. And he just loves Fortunate Son. So when we came over here, we just played it at every bar. I was playing through my Spotify 100 most played songs of the year, and that was like very near the top. And I was just like, I sent him a screenshot. I'm like, oh, this makes absolute sense. Like this is one of my most played songs of the year, because I played it as often as I could for a while. So yeah,
makes sense.
Last question, Joe.
Okay.
Who's your favorite character in these movies?
Han.
That's a good one.
It has to be Han for me. I like that he's so cool he's like just oozing coolness.
Yeah.
Like, I aspire to be that cool. You know what I mean? Like,
this is a really tough question because
I love everyone. I'm just saying, like,
I love everyone.
I think he's my favorite.
I want to say Brian, but I feel like that's kind of boring just because he's who we're supposed to identify with, like, from the beginning, right? Because he's our entry point into the franchise. I want to say Dom because, I sort of, in terms of my choices and stuff on here, like, I sort of model myself after Dom. In terms of actors, like, the most excited I've ever been in these movies is when Jason Statham showed up. And I know that he's a bad guy and there's all the hashtag Justice for Han stuff, which makes it a sort of a problematic choice.
It's not really.
But I don't, he's not been around long enough for him to be my favorite, right? Like, it just...
Okay. It's your rules, man.
I know. And again, the same thing for Hobbs. Like, I love Hobbs, but considering he's only there for half the movies, right? Like, it's...
So's Han.
I know, but Han still feels more core to the franchise as of this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll go Brian.
Okay, that's fine.
So that was all the questions. Oh, actually, here, before we do our rankings, do you want to do This Ain't No 10-Second Race, a.k.a. Boy, do we have a podcast for you? Do you want to save that?
No, we save it.
Okay, cool.
We're going to save it, yeah.
So the only thing that we have to do on this episode before we close up shop is, and we are broadcasting live from Tej's garage here in Miami, Florida.
Sponsored by Olive Garden.
Sponsored by Olive Garden. So now, Joe, we have our rankings for this lap. The first lap, I just did my adjusted favorites for, how much I liked them, and you did how much fun you had recording the episodes. So I think you had Fast and Furious 4 as your number one, just because that was such a bout face.
It was 2, but yeah.
But yes, you had a really, really high, as opposed to being last. You had like number 1, number 2, whatever, because you just loved the movie, or loved talking about it so much because you were so surprised
at how not bad it was for me. Yeah,
I thought about this time around, like, if I wanted to rank them in terms of how much fun I have in these episodes, but like I genuinely had a good time in all of them, and I also feel like it's not fair now that we have guests. Like, I feel like maybe next lap, where we have the same guest for all of them, it'll be easier to do that. But I feel like if we rank someone, like, somebody's got to be last, you know what I mean? It'd be like...
Yeah, and it's not like they're the least fun or something, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah. So my idea is like, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking the exact same thing, and like, I don't want to rank them by the most fun either, because I definitely had a lot of fun doing all of them.
Yep.
I was thinking I'm going to rank them by the most family this lap.
Yep. So why don't you start at the bottom and work your way up? What's your least family movie?
Are you doing family too?
I'm doing a different one. I'm gonna go next.
So I'm going most family, and this is just generally, I'm compiling everything that we use to describe these movies as family. How much family's in them, how familial is the movie, you know what I mean? Like, all of these things combined is what I came together with to how family the movie is.
Yep. Number 8.
Last, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Okay. Fair.
Han's like family, right? But like, nobody else is really like, Sean's family hates him.
It's a foster family.
It's a foster family. Like, Han's the only family that's holding them together, but he's actually part of the real family anyway. So it's like, it's just like a tiny extension of like our family. Second to last, 8.
Sure.
Family. There's a lot of family and characters, but it's not really familial.
And it's Dom against the family.
And it's Don against the family. So that's why that was there.
Number 6.
6 is Too Fast, Too Furious, because you have Roman and Brian, which is kind of family, but that's only 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And they're really familial, but it's only 2 of them. You know what I mean? Like, we get a lot more of that later.
We got Tej, but he's also sort of separate.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Number 5 is 6. What is it? Fast
and Furious 6.
Fast and Furious 6, because we have a lot of family in it, but we lose family.
Yeah.
That's where we lose Giselle. Han dies at the end.
Yeah.
That you have to subtract some family for that.
Sure. Number 4. Top half.
Top half.
More family than not.
Fast and Furious, number 4.
Okay.
Because we refamily. New... what? We do...
Refamily.
We refamily. We go from old like, we go from... What is it? What was the bill of it? No, new engine, same parts?
New model, original parts.
Okay, new model, original parts, yeah. So that's why I was like, okay, so like we get some of the family back. We haven't hit like 6 or, whatever yet, but okay. Third, 7. Because losing Brian and seeing them be so familial in the movie makes it really strongly about family.
Yeah.
And like that last scene on the beach, like that puts it up in the top 3 for sure.
Your top 2 are number 1 and number 5, so I'm just trying to figure out, where these fit in, because 7's super family. 7's really family.
Yeah. Number 2 is The Fast and the Furious. It's the beginning of the family.
All right.
I mean, you can't get... We have everybody, you know what I mean? Like, it's the beginning of the family, like the first time we see the family, so...
Yeah.
Which leaves,
Fast
number
5.
1, if you did the math, Fast 5. We get a full movie with Han.
Yeah.
We get Tej and Roman back. We add Giselle.
We add Rico and Tego.
We add Rico and Tego.
We got Hobbs and Elena for the first time.
Hobbs and Elena for the first time. Letty is raced into memory.
Vince
is still there. Vince doesn't die yet. I think that is the most family of all the movies.
I love it.
So that's how I did my rankings. Down the line again, Fast 5, Fast and the Furious the first one, Furious 7, Fast and Furious number 4, the Fast and Furious 6, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fate of the Furious, and then Fast and Furious 3 Tokyo Drift was last.
Cool.
That was my rankings.
My rankings, I wanted to give a little bit of a special shout out to the people who make this all possible, to our sponsors.
Oh my god.
And I ranked these in order of how much I appreciated what they paid us to plug their products on the show.
Thank you.
So at number 8, K-Fam.
I'm so glad you kept record of it, because,
Sure.
man, I just have so many sponsor bags at my house.
Yeah.
I kind of forget sometimes which
Number 8, K-Fam sponsored the Fast and Furious, our first episode of the Lap. That was more of like a charitable donation. You know, we just said, you know, it's important to have Koreans in this country feel at home, feel like they're part of the family. If they're having family issues, K-Fam is there for you. We did that out of the kindness of our hearts.
Yeah.
I don't think they sent us anything, but shout out K-Fam number there. Number 7, Furious 7 Kleenex. Appreciate it for the movie, but now I just got fucking boxes of tissues everywhere in my house, and I don't know what to do with them all. So shout out Kleenex number 7.
So there's on that note, we bought Q-tips in the 3,000 pack. You know, we bought like 1,000, but we bought them at Costco. Cotton swabs. Mm-hmm. But there's like 3 boxes of 1,000, and like I've had those same 3 boxes for like 2 years, right? 'Cause it's like 1,000 of them, right? Yeah. Like you can't go through them that fast.
No.
Like Zach's always confused how we don't use 1,000. I'm like, who the fuck in your house?
I don't know.
Is using Q-tips that quick? Like he thinks it's like a normal thing to go through like a box of 1,000 in a month.
That's
and
crazy.
I'm like, how?
That's
like
crazy.
If you use 1 on each ear, you use 2 a day.
One of the exciting gifts that I asked for Christmas was refillable stuff around the house. Because I just hate spending money on that. So like my parents got me, Tide Pods for the laundry and dish detergent pods and everything like that. And like, I'm looking. I'm like, okay, the Tide Pods thing I have has 54 pods in it. I'm like, I kind of average on average like 1 a week. So like this is gonna last me until next Christmas. I'm good for the year. And same thing with the dishwasher. Like just like I'm not burning through 3,000 Q-tips or 54 Tide Pods in a month. Like I'm just
Yeah, I even have a woman living at my house. Like,
yeah.
And Rachel still doesn't blow through that many Q-tips. No. Okay, sorry, never mind. That was a little tangent.
Number 6 sponsored our Too Fast, Too Furious episode. Snickers. We ain't hungry no more. I love Snickers, but I just got a box of Snickers that I still
You didn't use them for Halloween.
I used them for Halloween. I still have so many. There's still so many. Number 5, Century Safe sponsored Fast 5. Knock on wood, have not needed to protect my documents yet from natural disaster, from theft. Safe is down in my basement.
This will move up the list if you have any disasters.
I hope not, but I hope yes.
I hope not either, but I'm just saying.
Number 4, similar, Samsonite sponsored our Fate of the Furious episode, only because I have used my heavy-duty hardcore briefcase to move. Like I just used it to bring my Nintendo Switch to my parents' house for Christmas for the afternoon. So,
codes.
It's just instead of a bag, it's just a very nice. I also can pretend, that it's like nuclear football. So there we go.
Yeah.
Number 3, top 3 sponsored Tokyo Drift. Hostess sent us a whole bunch of Twinkies, but also other Hostess products. Twinkies alone felt it would have been like we got a lot of
too
Twinkies.
much.
I'm not saying that, but just the diversity that Hostess provided. Devil dogs, ding dongs, ring dings, ho hos, everything. Just teaming. Like Snickers is just Snickers. This is like I was trying to figure out which I liked more. Snickers itself might be better than any of those things on Hostess, but the variety that Hostess provided was
better.
Basket. Number 2, runner-up, Walmart Grocery, sponsored Fast and Furious 6, because you don't just pick up Owen Shawlecki's groceries. Shout out Walmart Grocery. They have delivered for free my groceries for the last 3 months since we did that, or whenever we did that, so... since November 20th when we recorded that, so shout out.
They covered Thanksgiving and Christmas for you?
They sure did.
Damn.
That was one of our, that was the longest episode we've done, so they really got their money's worth. And number 1, if you've been doing the math at home, British Petroleum sponsored our Fast and Furious number 4. Shout out Liam and Elliot from Britain. It's just, honestly, selfishly, nice not having to pay for gas anymore. That they just covered gas for 2 years, so It's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
We just have to wear those damn decals on the car, but sure.
I also want to give a shout out to Reach Out Worldwide, Paul Walker's charity, and also the USPS, who sponsored our mailbag episode. Those, I wasn't really ranking those because they were special and they weren't in our core 8. But thank you both.
And thank you, Olive Garden.
And thank you, Olive Garden.
When you're here,
here are Wes's rankings. So Wes ranked them. Number 8, Too Fast, Too Furious. Number 7, he said, just before I go any further, my new rankings after rewatching most of these movies and listening to your discussion. So we are directly influencing, in a way, Wes's life. Number 8, Too Fast, Too Furious. Number 7, Fast and Furious. Number 4. Number 6, Fate of the Furious. Number 5, Fast and Furious 6. Number 4, Furious 7. Number 3, Tokyo Drift. Number 2, The Fast and the Furious. Number 1. And number 1, Fast 5. So he has the same top 2 as you in the same order, different metrics, but Fast 5, Fast and Furious number 1, Tokyo Drift, Furious 7, Fast and Furious 6, Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious. I'm really excited to figure out where Hobbs and Shaw is going to rank on all of our lists.
Yeah. I have no idea, but I think that as we keep watching these, 5 is just going to keep edging its way out over and over again.
5 is really, really... 5 and 6 are just both so goddamn good.
I know, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your list, Wes. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Wes. You can email in if you want to send in your rankings. If you have not sent in your rankings yet, if you want to update your rankings, family@cageclub.me. Our next episode is in 2 weeks with resident historian Mike Manzi, co-founder of the Cage Club Podcast Network. He is here to talk about all 8 movies this lap, The Fast and the Furious, Lap 3, Episode 1, heading back to Southern California, where we meet the Buster for the very first time. Anything to say before we close up shop, close the garage doors here on Tesh's Garage?
No, I'm just still speechless after your rankings. I didn't. Sorry.
Dude, my original idea was how much I like Brian in the movies, but I'm like, he's not in 3, but 3 was going to be above 8 because he's not in 8 at all, but like, he's still alive in 3, but I'm like, this doesn't really...
We could do that. We got all the time. We got nothing but time,
But yeah, so shout out all of our sponsors. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to Lap 2.
All of our listeners.
Email family@cageclub.me. Go to patreon.com/toofast2forever. In the new year, we will be doing stickers and t-shirts, so if you want to be the first to get those, sign up, take a couple bucks or whatever, and you can get those sent to you when we make them, which will be very soon in the new year. Go to cageclub.me for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, all 23 shows on our network. You can also find, I just put together, posted yesterday on New Year's Eve, our sort of the best episodes, the best of 2018. I asked the hosts of all 23 shows to pick their favorite episodes of the year, so they're all featured there for you to listen to. So we picked Too Fast, Too Furious from Lap 2, 222, with Brian of the High School Summer Party, because that was a really fun conversation. But they were all great. This whole year is great.
This was the hardest choice we made, yeah.
I also posted today, or will post soon, my favorite movies of the year and favorite TV shows of the year. So go check those out. And also, just poke around. We released more episodes this year, more podcast episodes this year on our network than in the 2.5 years leading up to this year. So there's no stopping down. It is crazy. I think if my math is right, we released like 410 episodes, which is more than one a day, which is bananas to me. But
it's nuts. Yeah.
Go to cageclub.me, just poke around. Facebook.com/cageclub, Facebook.com/toofast2forever, @cageclubpod on Twitter and Instagram, and once again, family@cageclub.me. Happy New Year to you, Joe. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Happy New Year to you, brother. Don't forget to watch CNN.
I hope everybody watched CNN last night. If not...
Oh, we warned them on the last episode.
We did,
so
yeah.
Okay, we can talk about that next time.
I wonder if there's got to be like a bootleg that somebody posts the next day of like the CNN, New Year's countdown. So
well, there's always like some kind of like horror story that comes out. Like you'll never guess what happened yesterday on CNN.
Don Lemon got a tattoo.
Yeah, or whatever name got really stoned in that fucking...
Yeah. The weed dispenser or whatever. Yep. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks to kick off Lap 3 with the Fast and Furious right here on Too Fast, Too Forever.
Let's ride.